This is a primetime news bulletin here on Joy News on Multi TV. In this edition, public sector workers largely disregard strike call over their Tier 2 pension contributions. Ghanaians give government poor rating over its management of the economy. Ghana dispatches first contingent of police officers to South Sudan. Government promises a facelift of the country's prisons from next year to improve conditions there. An Norwegian government-sponsored training of frontline health workers on Ebola takes off in Accra. We also have sports, business, showbiz and international news coming up. The bulletin can also be viewed across Europe on ABN television in London. Stay tuned.
News at 8 with Israel Lai.
Wednesday marked day one of a nationwide strike called by some 12 labor unions in the country to protest government's refusal to hand over their second-tier pension contributions. The labor unions, consisting workers in the public sector, want the money handed over to pension fund managers of their choice. Checks by Joy News, however, indicate not all the workers involved complied with the strike call, with some of them saying they were unaware.
More than 10 labor unions, including the Ghana National Association of Teachers and the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, declared the indefinite nationwide strike on Wednesday, October 22, to protest government's failure to pay their Tier 2 pension funds into a private account. It was, however, business as usual at some institutions visited in Accra. At the Bauleshi Presby cluster of schools, teachers were at post going about their normal duties. According to one of the school heads, there has been no official communication from the union leaders.
To be frank, we've not had any letter from anywhere to stand on and then have the strike action. Therefore, we are having our normal school session. School is in session fully. We are doing our work. We must be in the known and serve with letters, and then we all get, there should be a meeting, but no meeting with any head teacher or teachers, and then we just heard on air we must go on strike. We cannot just go because we are working for somebody. What about if we go and we are not paid?
At the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, the situation was no different. Doctors, nurses and other medical officials were attending to patients who had reported to the facility. Some of the health workers who spoke off camera expressed their disappointment at their leaders for not engaging them at the local level. According to them, their leaders have not done enough to explain the reasons and modalities for the strike. They stressed until they are served with an official notice and reasons for the strike, they will continue to remain at post. It was a similar situation at the ministries, where government workers there said they did not know about the strike.
Are you aware CLOSAG is embarking on a strike action today?
No, I'm not aware of that. I know of the schools and then the hospitals, but for the ministries or the CLOSAG, no, I'm not aware of that. I know the teachers are going on strike because of this second tier, but for the ministries or the CLOSAG, no.
Although there were notices posted at vantage points, some of the workers were at post. At the Public Works Department, however, the workers were on a sit-down strike in compliance with the general strike call. Matilda Pomaga for Joy News, Accra.
Well, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOSAG, has been explaining the exact reason for their strike. Speaking on today's big story, the National Treasurer of the association, Apia Sapong, said the NPRA must come clean on workers' occupational contributions to avoid a situation where they will be shortchanged when they go on retirement.
Then is occupational pension scheme. So those in education has, their own occupational pension scheme. Those in health, all the health unions have come together and formed their own occupational pension scheme. And then CLOSAG too, we are two civil service and then local government service, we have come together. We do the same. We are in the same occupational area, so we also have one. That is what the law has stipulated, and that is what exactly what we have done. We did not do it out of our own volition. So it means that all the four occupational pension schemes, the public occupational pension schemes, have their trust. So that those contributions must be sent to those areas. So in case of CLOSAC, our contribution must go to our custodian, and then that will also be worked on by the fund manager. The same thing applies to Ghana Educational Service schemes, occupational schemes. They have a number of unions under it, about 4 or 5 of them. So their contribution must also go to their scheme for the fund manager to start working with them. The same thing applies to medical services. So you see that all the different occupational services have their own occupational pension schemes, which must work. And what we are now looking for is government to release the money, the contribution so far from January 2010 to date, to those areas for it to be invested.
Most Ghanaians, according to CDD's Afrobarometer survey, rated government poorly in its management of the economy. The research findings also describe the country's economic condition as very bad, with citizens expressing a high degree of pessimism in their forecast for next year.
The latest Afrobarometer survey revealed Ghanaians want maximum priority to be given to the management of the economy, a shift in policy priorities in the previous survey where unemployment was the main focus.
We see 72% saying government is managing the economy very badly or fairly badly. However, 25% say the government has done very well or fairly well. And if you look at the regional distribution, we will also see that Greater Accra, Brown, Western, Eastern, and Ashanti are having averages way above the national figure of 72%. 6% also say government is performing very badly or badly in improving living standards of the poor. And again, Ashanti, Brown, Eastern, and Western regions reported significantly higher negative responses than the national average. In terms of job creation, 76% think the government is performing very badly or fairly badly.
The negative evaluation of the government's economic management performance indicates Ghanaians believe the country is moving in the wrong direction. The findings also indicate nearly 4 out of every 10 Ghanaians are pessimistic the country's economic woes will turn around in the nearest future. They also said their living conditions are nothing to write home about.
52% assess the current economic conditions as much worse or worse compared to the past year. And almost 4 in 10, 38% express pessimism about the economic conditions in the coming year, while 30% were optimistic. We have 42% saying they believe their living conditions are worse or much worse than other Ghanaians. 33% think theirs is better, and then 19% do not see any change.
According to the Afrobarometer project team, their findings have been presented to policymakers, key members of government agencies, and other stakeholders, including political parties.
I can say that we have had this kind of collaboration with most of our top government officials, and especially the ruling party when they are in power. We always try to give them the first-hand information as to what we are seeing from Afrobarometer. So, for instance, yesterday we had a confidential briefing for some top government officials to let them know that these are the findings we are bringing out to the public. We have even lined up a series of confidential briefings based on some of the findings that we want to target at key institutions that we believe will be relevant, that those findings will be relevant to them.
The team sampled views from 2,400 adult Ghanaians across the country in the round 6 survey findings from May 24 to June 10, 2014.
Government says it will from next year begin a process of re-equipping and resourcing prisons in the country as part of moves to improve conditions there. A facelift of some of the country's prisons is already underway, with more facilities expected to be roped in. Interior Minister Mark Oyongo tells Journey some funding has already been secured for the process.
According to Mark Woyongo, government is looking to improve the conditions in the various prisons and that work has already begun at Nsawam prison, courtesy funding from the British government.
What I can say is that we've had some support from the British government through the British High Commission. We've had about £483,000 for the rehabilitation of the Nsawam and Ankaful prisons. So far, I think about 37,000 Ghana cedis has been released to the prison service, and work has started on the infirmary at Nsawam. Some additional structures will be put up in some of them. And then, number two, some of the existing structures will be upgraded. They'll be given a facelift. So that is the way we are going to go about it.
He added that his ministry has put together a stakeholder forum to look at ways of decongesting the country's prisons.
I expect that when you are put on remand for, say, a certain number of years and you haven't seen trial, they should just recommend that you should be set free. We are having a forum, like I said, on the 30th to 31st. And after that, what we expect is that they will submit a report to us. We will look at the report, send it to the Attorney General. The Attorney General will look at it, they cross the I's and cross the T's and dot the I's and bring it back to us. Then we will send it to Cabinet. When we get the Cabinet approval, it will return to us and we send it to Parliament and to be passed as law.
The Interior Minister also hinted moves by government to encourage the courts to lean more towards community services instead of custodial sentencing.
Western Regional Minister Paul Evans-Adu has called on cocoa buying companies to extend their support to the communities they buy their produce from. Problems these communities face range from bad roads, lack of potable water, health facilities to other social amenities which can be leveraged if cocoa buying companies extend support to them. The minister was speaking at the premium ceremony for the Walter, Matter and Fedco Sustainability Project at Samreboy in the Western region.
Although cocoa farmers play a very important role in the cocoa value chain in Ghana, most cocoa buying companies ignore their welfare, leaving them with no or little basic facilities. To avert this, a team of consultants from Federated Commodities Fedco, Walter Matter SA and Chocolate Frey in Switzerland visited 6 districts in the Western region last year to conduct a needs assessment project. The districts are Wase Krupong, Manso Amenfi, Asenkrigwa, Samreboy, A and B, and Akontumbra. The reason for this assessment was to identify the real needs of the cocoa farmers and find means to address them. The needs identified in the report were the areas of healthcare, potable water, roads network, education infrastructure, and entertainment facilities. The managing director of Fedco, Alhaji Abdul Razak Adamu, announced that during the 2013-2014 crop season, the 6 districts involved in the project were able to produce close to 8,000 metric tons of certified cocoa beans. The ceremony, therefore, is to officially hand over to the farmers their share of the premium received from the certified cocoa sold during the year under review, and also outdoor some projects implemented in some of the communities. This year, Fedco and its partners have set aside an amount of 2.442 million Ghana cedis to support the farmers.
Fedco and its partners have also set aside 1,042,000 Ghana cedis for corporate social responsibility through the provision of potable water. And also an amount of 1,042,000 Ghana cedis has been reserved for the purchase and supply of farm input and logistics for our dear farmers to improve their best agronomical practice. We have also started on a pilot basis, a farmer business school to build the farmers' capacity for entrepreneurship and management skill. The farmer business school will enable farmers to learn and improve their knowledge on best practice and business practice as well, change their attitude to enhance their skill towards improving commercialization.
The Western Regional Minister, Paul Evans-Adu, noted all the bad roads in the country are in the cocoa growing areas and promised that will be dealt with. He urged cocoa farmers to desist from giving up their cocoa farms for galamsey operations and utilize the farm items presented by FEDCO.
Cocoa rose no cocoa growing areas Yani Federal Reservoir Transi and Cocoa Board at Transi are selecting Rosa and Chebia Edbama contrast and no ye cocoa rose ya mapai Emma Yamfa Cocoa Scano and Koya Pine Bio Babia Cocoa.
The two partners, Walter Mata SA and Chocolate Free, praised the cocoa farmers for their good work and urged cocoa farmers to keep the quality of cocoa beans high.
The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority in Kumasi is urging all Ghanaians to support efforts to raise more revenue from taxation for the country. Addressing a training workshop for media practitioners, the sector commander, Isaac Kofi Toffa, says this has become necessary because not enough revenue is being raised through taxation, with implications for government ability to deliver development projects. A report by Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin.
The sector commander cited tax violations as one of the major challenges affecting revenue mobilization, explaining that the state is losing a lot of money as a result.
Every day people are going on strike and all that. If there's money, why should they go on strike? Are you understanding it? But the money, the source of the monies is just the taxes that we take. If we don't take the taxes enough to go around all the developmental projects that we are doing, then how are they going to, they will have problems. So definitely the revenue, losing the revenue is affecting the development of the nation. So it's a huge problem for the nation.
He dismissed the claims that Custom Division has not lived up to expectation.
It would be wrong to say that. So what do you think will happen if we didn't do anything and we are sitting down? If you are chasing somebody and the person, he already has this, by the time you get there, he has devised another means. At the time you get there, he has also devised another means. That's why I was saying that we need everybody's help. Like if we are able to get information, even from the press, they come to us, this is what we have. And then we can also immediately see to it that we take measures to quench that.
Report by Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin.
The Ghana Police Service has dispatched a contingent of over 150 officers to South Sudan. The contingent, the first ever from Ghana to that country, will carry out public order management. Inspector General of Police Mohamed Al-Hassan charged personnel to maintain high police ethics and professionalism.
Ghana was mandated to send troops and personnel to South Sudan by the African Union and the United Nations following a proposal by the two bodies to help ensure law and order in the troubled region of South Sudan. The over 150 officers selected to be part of the special UN Public Order Management Mission were drawn from various departments of the Ghana Police Service. They were taken through 6 months of training in riot control, effective weapons handling and conflict management at an inspection parade to ascertain the preparedness of the contingents before being dispatched. The Inspector General of Police, Mohamed Al-Hassan, advised them to maintain the highest level of professionalism.
We keep on receiving more requests. We've been requested to bring in a second contingent to South Sudan. We've been requested by AU for a contingent, the FPU contingent from Ghana, and the requests keep coming in. It means that the police is held in high esteem in the international circles, and we need to work hard to meet those expectations.
Personnel were also advised to ensure that their equipment, including ballistic helmets, metal protectors, armored vehicles, and riot control shields, were in good working conditions before setting out on any mission.
we noticed that some of the equipment have to be looked at again in terms of quality. We have to ensure that we don't take an equipment away into the mission area that will not work. It only means that the administration, the commanding officers, you, the men and women of the unit, have to continue working hard.
The over 150 personnel are expected to remain in South Sudan for over a year and will be joined by some police personnel from other African countries to contribute to the formed police unit contingent of UN peacekeeping missions.
The Ghana Health Service has begun a 3-day capacity building on Ebola case management in the country. The training, which is sponsored by the Norwegian government, seeks to equip frontline workers with effective skills to combat the deadly virus should it slip into the country.
Deadly Ebola virus, which has claimed close to 5,000 lives so far, has been described as the worst ever outbreak. As part of efforts to fight the disease in Ghana, Ebola Rapid Response Team have been set up in all 10 regions, in addition to isolation units established in some of the country's major hospitals. The training for frontline health workers is therefore another leg of the anti-Ebola campaign.
Ghana is an international transport hub and has not registered a case of Ebola to date. It therefore falls into the category of countries that will implement activities towards achieving the third objective of Ebola response roadmap, which is to strengthen preparedness of all countries to rapidly detect and respond to an Ebola exposure, especially those sharing land borders with an intense transmission area and those with international transportation hubs. That is why this training of trainers program for various health workers in the Greater Accra region to equip frontline health workers with the necessary skills for prompt and effective case management, infection prevention and control, outbreak response, safe burials, and psychosocial support is key to the fight against the deadly Ebola virus. This will enhance the skills and knowledge of personnel to prevent, control, and contain the disease.
The Norwegian ambassador to Ghana stressed the need for a coordination of efforts and resources by all countries to support the sub-region, especially the affected countries.
So we can contribute with money. We have contributed, I think, $50 million altogether for fighting Ebola. One of those $1 million belong here to Ghana in order to work for the preparation or preparedness of the disease not coming here, and that is what the money is spent for today. That's you. But you know, this money is of absolutely no use unless we have the hands and the heads and the hearts of you, the health workers of Ghana, who can go out and do this awareness and preparedness work. Because our definite common goal is that there will be no Ebola in Ghana, and we will be able to keep it out of the country, and if it comes in, we can contain it into a very small group.
The 3-day capacity training for frontline health workers is expected to be replicated across the country.
The head of monitoring at the Traditional Medicine Practitioners Council has cautioned the public to be wary of persons who claim to have powers to double money. Martin Anzaglo is also urging the law enforcement agencies to do well to weed out such charlatans from the system.
Quackery is a concern to all of us, and that is why we are saying that the public must be aware and must consult the services of only certified traditional medicine practitioners. There is this unfortunate development of most, especially psychic healers. And when psychic healers, I mean malams, I mean hunos or comforts, and even some pastors who are claiming of having powers of doubling money and issuing lotto numbers. And some of them are using even some of the media outlets to make such wild claims.
The Ghana Federation of Traditional Medicine Practitioners is an association that oversees the activities of operators. And at this year's African Traditional Medicine Day, participants lauded efforts by authorities to refine the work of traditional medicine and make their products competitive on the international market. The president of the federation used the platform to elaborate what his outfit is doing to build capacity of its members.
This year, CODVET has supported us to do a course at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, that is in basic science, that is putting science into the practice of traditional medicine.
Some practitioners shared some of their challenges.
Lack of funds. We don't get funds to build up, so we need funds. And money answers all. If we get funds, I think we can do everything we like to help the industry.
Well, as they have said, as it is in all West African countries especially, funding of research work is a great problem.
Herbal concoctions produced by local practitioners are noted to claim to cure multiple ailments, a claim that leads many to doubt their efficacy. The president of Gathram, however, maintains so long as no research has been done to refute that claim, he believes that the debate has to be put to rest.
In order to help prevent cholera by ensuring safe drinking water for the public, the Food and Drugs Authority in the Upper East region has organized a training workshop on safe manufacturing practices for 100 sachet water producers.
Workshop, which took place in Bolgatanga, focused on educating the sachet water producers about safe ways of producing drinking water, devoid of contamination, for their consumers. The workshop also served as an eye-opener for the sachet water producers as they learned manufacturing practices that could help them avoid getting into trouble with the FDA during routine inspections. Brahma Zakaria is the Upper East Regional Officer of the FDA.
Today we have to train about 100 participants coming from 50 companies. Basically to ensure that they put into practice good manufacturing practices to ensure the safety of consumers.
Some of the sachet water producers who spoke to Joy News said they learned quite a lot from the workshop.
The workshop is very, very, very important because though we are attending this workshop, but today it has opened our eyes and our mind to so many important things that go with the production of such water, particularly the SOP, the SOPs. If we were to do what the presenter told us, I think that will go a long way to reducing drinking water.
I think I've learned a lot, especially about the hygiene. Yeah, this is a very basic thing that we look down upon, but it's a very key issue with the hygiene, most especially with hand washing. And sometimes the workers visit the washrooms and come out without washing their hands. And this is a very key thing that we have to look out for.
Albert Soris report for Joy News.
For business, my name is Matilda Nyakwa Kweku. In our first story, government is considering hedging the crude oil exports to minimize the impact on its revenue. This will see government take up an insurance policy to ensure that the revenue from crude oil is not affected by volatilities on the global market. Analysts have predicted that the country's finances could come under serious threat if crude oil prices continue to decline, as has been the case in the last few weeks and months. From a little over $100, the commodity is now going for about $80. Further decline. The National Petroleum Authority has assured products that their monitoring teams are inspecting all filling stations across the country to verify the compliance with the new prices, and that defaulting filling stations will be sanctioned in accordance with the law. The authority in a statement encouraged consumers to meet with the end station still selling at the old price. The authority announced a 2% reduction in the effective Tuesday in response to a decline in the price of crude oil. Consumers, however, believe the gesture is not good enough and that there should have been a decrease in drivers to reduce lorry fares. In other business stories, the Banking for the Poor project, an initiative seeking to offer financial services to the undeserved and populations difficult to reach by the mainstream banking sector, is making inroads in Ghana. More than 15,000 small businesses are currently benefiting from the project, currently running in some rural communities.
Running in 3 regions across the country, the Banking for the Poor project brings together a group of small business owners who make monthly contributions from which they can access loans to grow their businesses.
Farmers, for instance, are contributing 1 cedi a week or 2 cedis, depending on the arrangement the group agree on. Then they accumulate these savings, and from this they give out loan to individual members at an interest rate that is agreed upon by the group. We don't give any external fund. Everything that is given as credit is from the group themselves. The only thing that we are doing is we build their capacity to manage the fund.
Some 1,500 members have been signed on so far.
Last year, amango de semenyano, and I'm saying I'm in his sentiment. And so I feel women say project in Inti, Mitimoti amango no equa anymore kama. Milona Magis CIA 1,000, interest 50 Ghana, and that's so. Met you on October and yeah, you na meet you.
Na salon no odi ye juma potty because back on also the mango for where would the bed.
Me ya adwumanti me diskano to line and Steve ni tailor no magakra.
The new EU ambassador to Ghana says they are impressed with the results so far. The Banking for the Poor is one of 5 projects on microfinance that the EU is supporting in Ghana at a total cost of 800,000 euros. The EU, together with government, is developing a new program that is expected to serve the financial needs of people living in the northern part of the country.
We're developing for our future cooperation with Ghana a new program which is looking at business opportunities, job creation for small and medium enterprises in rural parts of Ghana, which we hope would start in 2016. And the future assistance, that remains to be seen how much it will be. We will be, the EU as a whole will be providing over the next 5 years over 300 million euros. Part of that will be going to this particular area.
According to him, getting credit and skills to the poorest people in society is essential as it affords them the opportunity to improve their economic status.
Meanwhile, financial education is coming to the doorstep of citizens as the Bank of Ghana intensifies its financial literacy program. Assistant Director at the Central Bank, Dr. Yao Jimalabi, says this has become necessary considering the fact that many Ghanaians know very little about basic financial transactions.
It was an annual thing and we thought that wasn't enough. So we're coming up with a 3-year program where every quarter we'll be going into the town halls, the various towns, You know, it's been on the regional capital, but this time we want to go deeper into the regions and into the towns and into the villages. So that, because we believe that it's only when the people are well educated, then they can make an informed decision or informed choices about any investments or decision, any financial issues. And especially coupled with the fact that these days you see people coming out with some products offering some unsustainable returns to investors, and people just go in, for instance.
What should we look out for when we are engaging microfinance? First
and foremost, you look at whether an institution is licensed. We have asked them to display their licenses in their banking halls. So make sure their institutions are licensed. If you are not sure, our offices are open, City House, Bank of Ghana. And also, in certain cases, you look at the interest rate that they offer to you, say that, oh, I'm going to give you 80%, 60%, 100%. Then you ask yourself, what kind of business is the person doing before he can offer this interest rate?
Microsoft is ditching the Nokia brand name from new devices less than a year after acquiring the Finnish mobile firm. The company says new Nokia Lumia smartphones will instead be known as Microsoft Lumia. Nokia's non-mobile division, which is not owned by Microsoft, will continue to use the name. The mobile operation was bought by Microsoft in April in a deal worth $7.2 billion. Since then, Microsoft has quietly shifted away from the Nokia brand. A post on Nokia France's Facebook page confirmed the brand shift. Microsoft has said the renaming will roll out globally in due course. The announcement comes despite Microsoft agreeing to a 10-year deal to use the Nokia name on mobile products. Microsoft is currently having a big shakeup. Chief Executive Satya Nadella in July announced the cutting of 18,000 jobs. The bulk of the cuts, around 12,500, will be from the staff taken on after the Nokia acquisition. Well, that's all for business. Up next, the sports.